Fingerprints, Key or Trap to Justice. On October 17, 1902, the murder of Joseph Ribel became the focus of the whole of Paris. There were no witnesses, no surveillance video, just a piece of broken glass covered in blood. It seemed meaningless, but for the police, it was a clue to solve the case thanks to a new method: fingerprint comparison. Henri Scheffer, who had been arrested for theft, quickly became the prime suspect and was convicted based on this match. But was justice really served? More than a century later, fingerprints are still considered irrefutable evidence in courts around the world. However, the debate over their reliability and fairness still rages. Are fingerprints really golden evidence, or just a tool easily manipulated by error and prejudice? Perfect does not exist. Fingerprints have long been considered an indisputable means of identification, with the idea that no two people have the same fingerprints. However, recent studies have shown that relying on fingerprints as decisive evidence in criminal cases may not be entirely accurate. Although the error rate in the 2011 study was only 0.1%, this number raises serious concerns about the accuracy of fingerprint identification methods. If there are errors, even small ones, in the fingerprint analysis process, innocent people can be wrongly convicted. This raises a big question about the reliability of fingerprints in criminal cases. How many people have been wrongly convicted because of a small error in fingerprint identification? In addition, the lack of uniform standards for fingerprint evaluation adds to the ambiguity in the use of fingerprints as evidence in criminal cases. In the UK, a minimum of 16 points of similarity is required to confirm a match between two fingerprints, while in the US, there is no fixed standard, with states applying their own rules. This creates inconsistency in trials and can lead to cases being wrongly concluded due to the application of different standards. The lack of a global standard means that there is insufficient protection for those prosecuted on the basis of fingerprints. This not only affects the fairness of trials, but also undermines confidence in the legal system. A clear and uniform standard worldwide would help reduce errors and increase the accuracy of the use of fingerprints in criminal investigations. The irony of science. The process of collecting and analyzing fingerprints is not always perfect. Fingerprints can be smudged, distorted, or overlapped in a variety of situations, making comparisons between prints complicated and prone to error. These errors can have serious consequences, as was the case with Brandon Mayfield, a famous wrongful conviction. Brandon Mayfield, an American lawyer, was wrongly convicted because the FBI determined that his fingerprints matched those found at the scene of a bombing in Madrid in 2004. Despite the lack of other strong evidence, the fingerprints were considered the deciding factor in Mayfield's arrest and conviction. However, after the Spanish police conducted a more thorough analysis, they determined that the real suspect was someone else. Mayfield was eventually exonerated, but there is no denying that the case severely damaged his life. Brandon Mayfield's case highlights a painful reality. When fingerprints are collected and analyzed incorrectly, these errors can lead to wrongful convictions. Fingerprints can be blurred, distorted, or overlapped, especially when they are taken from uneven surfaces or through imperfect collection methods. A lack of appropriate technology or expert assistance can lead to misidentifications, creating the risk of miscarriages of justice. Mayfield's case also highlights the dangers of relying too heavily on a single factor, such as fingerprints, without more thorough testing. This makes it clear that a more rigorous system of assessment is needed to avoid serious errors, protect the rights of the innocent, and ensure accuracy in the trial process. Who is behind the truth? It is true that as fingerprint databases become larger, The application of technology and artificial intelligence, AI, can help save time and reduce human errors. However, this does not mean that the system is completely error-free. AI algorithms, while very powerful, can still encounter problems if they are trained on incomplete or biased data. Additionally, they can be hacked or fail in situations where the data is inaccurate or inconsistent. This can lead to incorrect decisions, such as misidentifying fingerprints or making incorrect conclusions about the relationship between fingerprints in a large database. Therefore, while technology can be a great help, human verification is still an important factor. Human examiners can spot errors that AI algorithms cannot, especially in complex situations or when encountering non-standard data. Therefore, a system that combines AI and human supervision can help optimize efficiency, minimize errors, and ensure greater reliability. The consequences of blindness. Proponents of fingerprinting often see it as a powerful tool for solving criminal cases. Fingerprints can help connect a criminal to a crime scene or physical evidence, which is especially useful when there are no witnesses or other clear evidence. However, the big problem is that over-reliance on fingerprints can lead to serious errors. Critics rightly point out that a criminal case should not be based on a single piece of evidence. The justice system needs to have a comprehensive assessment of all elements of the case. Fingerprints, while powerful, can still be flawed in some cases, such as when there is a random overlap between fingerprints of different people, or when fingerprints are not stored and analyzed accurately. The fact that a single wrong fingerprint can send an innocent person to prison is a serious concern. This not only affects the person's freedom, but also damages confidence in the judicial system. If fingerprint recognition technology is not thoroughly tested and combined with other evidence, it can lead to erroneous decisions, affecting the fairness of the trial. Therefore, the use of fingerprints in cases must be applied carefully and must always be combined with other evidence such as testimony, video, physical evidence, and other factors. When the justice system does not have the basis to ensure accuracy, fairness, and transparency in the trial process, the problem is not just a wrong fingerprint, but a deficiency in the entire law enforcement process. Your question is really profound and opens up many thoughts about the justice system. Fingerprints, although a powerful tool in solving cases, as you pointed out, can also be biased or manipulated. Relying on a single factor such as fingerprints can cause other important evidence to be overlooked, or a lack of a comprehensive view. That is why a justice system needs to have a combination of many factors, from physical evidence, testimony, to transparent investigation and trial processes. The legal system cannot rely on a single type of evidence, but must consider many factors to ensure that each decision is fair and accurate. True justice, therefore, does not come from a single fingerprint or a single discovery, but from a fair and careful judicial process, where the truth is sought in every corner and there is no room for error or omission. Thus, the reliance on fingerprints, if not thoroughly verified and placed in a comprehensive context, can lead to serious errors and undermine the justice system.